Hello, Sharpies. I'm Tom Cunningham,
I'm Joy Stevens.
and this is Steel Sharpen Steel. We're going to call this a Steel Sharpen Steel cut to the chase because this is going to be a quick episode. Joy and I are both busy this week, but we did want to leave you with something to think
Right.
about as you head into the weekend. So, how are you doing
Right.
today, Joy?
I am doing well. I'm still alive, so that's good.
It is.
And I still have money, so that is also good. hmm
Yeah, you're still alive, unlike Trump's hopes for a Nobel Prize, and you still have money, unlike ICE. So you're doing a lot better than a lot of folks who are in the government today. I
hmm
will just say, hitting on those first 2 points, because we do want to keep this tight and tidy. We have a situation where over the past, I would say, 72 hours, uh,
hmm
Nobel Peace Prize has just been the talk of the town. Just everybody's been going gaga over the Nobel Peace Prize. And the first news we heard on the Nobel Peace Prize was, oh, he's obliterated Iran's nuclear ambitions. This is like Sunday morning going into, Saturday night, going into
Right.
Sunday, whatever. And so he's done it. He's done it. He deserves a Peace
He's
Prize.
done it. How, Slay?
I mean, and then almost immediately, uh, Pakistan weighed in a vanity play because they wanted to piss off India because Trump had previously said that he was the one that brought India and Pakistan to the table. And
Right. And they were like, I think not.
well, Modi was like, yeah, no, this was completely bilateral. He had no way in. He wasn't on the call. He wasn't in the room. He didn't Skype. It was
hmm
just us.
You don't even
Um,
have his number.
we don't know him. They
hmm
completely
I'm
pariah
sorry
him.
to this man. I do not
Yeah,
know this man.
I do not know him.
hmm
So then Pakistan jumps in and they're like, we think he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize because he organized this thing with India. Then 24 hours later, it was like, nah, the Iranian thing. No, we're taking back our
Right.
pretend.
And I think that's another reason he was so if you saw the thing where he was like, they don't know what they're like, he was hot because they done mess up his Nobel Peace Prize plans.
And he was inventing all these different scenarios, Serbia and Kosovo and Rwanda
Right.
and the Congo. Didn't even
Right.
know where the
Dogs and
Congo
cats
was.
living together. You just
Math hysteria. It's just, I just, I don't understand. And you had Kayleigh McEnany, who used to be his press secretary on the Five, talking about, he went from 34 felonies to now maybe getting 34 Nobel Peace Prizes. And I said that just for the liberals so that they could clip it and make it go viral. Ha ha ha. It's like, ma'am,
girl,
you
nobody care.
literally know how stupid you sound.
Right.
And in defense of his craziness about the Nobel Peace Prize, yes, Obama's Peace Prize was premature.
Yeah.
Stuff didn't happen. But he also didn't keep the money. Like, he gave the money to a foundation. He was like, oh, thank you.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm
It
not
was
Nobel.
a it
You don't
was
turn
a
away a Nobel Prize.
it was what am I trying to say? Not token. What's the word I'm looking for? It was a symbolic gesture,
hmm
right? To say, you are ushering in potentially a new era of forward thinking in an
Correct.
imperialistic country, and we would love for you to continue. And he was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, let me get this money away because it ain't really going away. I think it
Yeah,
is.
it's not
Um,
something that.
and then they didn't take it back because he didn't do anything
No,
really, really bad either. You know?
no, he didn't. He
Yeah.
didn't mess up. He didn't start a war. It was
Right.
just
And here's the
like,
thing is like Obama supporters are not out here screaming, he deserved that. They're like, yeah, I
we
mean,
really aren't.
he got it.
It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, what you gonna do? It's like when somebody wins the Grammy, when Macklemore wins the Grammy for best rap album, and
Right.
it's
When
like,
Kendrick is
I
right
mean,
there. Yeah.
it's a Grammy,
It's a
so
Grammy. Okay. Yeah, he got that.
Grammy's
Yeah.
going Graham, so
Right.
nobody's
Right.
flipping out. But
Right.
at
But
the same
Trump
time,
hasn't done, if anything, every time Trump is in office, things get worse for his own people. Right.
absolutely,
So
you
peace prize
can't
where?
even create peace for MAGA right now. You're creating
Right.
a
You
MAGA.
can't even get a piece of tail without paying for it.
So that being the case, we go from Nobel Prizes to the topic of money and
Yeah.
ICE. And because he went on this disastrous deportation plan, and that's the only way to describe it. He sold a bill of goods to the American people that much all 20 million, if it is 20 million, whatever, all of the undocumented, I'm not going to call them that other criminal term.
Right, because there's no way to do that. They are undocumented. Right.
Undocumented. Every undocumented person in this country is a gang member or a trafficker,
a hard criminal, a drug dealer,
or escaped from an asylum because he doesn't know that political asylum is not insane asylum. He just basically said all of these people are violent, evil people. Now,
and that's exactly what he said in his first term in 2016. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime. Yeah,
the worst people, caravans of horribles, all this sort of stuff. Now, people on the border states and people who actually employ these people knew that that wasn't true, but they voted for his ass anyway because they thought, well, if those Venezuelans have taken over Aurora, Colorado, we've got to get those Venezuelan gang members out, all 12 of them.
Yeah.
You don't deport 3,000 people a day. You don't set a target of 3,000 people a day and deputize former convicts from Jan 6 without even any sort of proper credentials or certifications. You don't even have enough uniforms that say ICE.
That's why they suck at their job, because they have no qualifications. That sounds like they didn't earn it. It really sounds like they didn't earn it to me.
DE-ICers. And see what I did there? So one of the things that came up this week is that because he's had to deploy all these people, because, Kristi Noem has been spending all this money, that's why she wants to tear down FEMA, because she needs that FEMA money to keep this deportation thing going. It hasn't even been going on that long, but they are out of cash. And one of the things that has come out since, I guess, the LA protest, and then since the No More Kings protest, is that a lot of people just aren't having it. It isn't enough for you to walk up with a little ice patch on your shirt and a mask over your face, and people just going to do whatever you say. You don't have a badge. You don't have a warrant. You don't have any identification. There's no officer, Jeffries.
Right, badge number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, you just out here in jeans and a Metallica t-shirt trying to convince somebody that you are a government official.
And the funny thing, I don't know how true this is, so I'm going to depend on the Sharpies, Chan maybe. Supposedly, a bunch of people wearing ICE uniforms started gathering up some other people in ICE uniforms in front of a crowd of people, and the people being gathered said, "Wait, we're ICE," and the people doing the gathering said, "Nah, we're ICE." And the crowd didn't know.
Spider-Man meme, right?
Not even the Sneetches, whatever. It was all that, and the people were just like, I mean, what are we supposed to do? Ain't none of y'all got identification, so just ice, baby. So
I'd have been there instigating, like, "Ooh, he lying. You gonna let him talk to you like that? Ooh, they just rolled up. I wouldn't believe that. You gonna get him?" And just watch the chaos unfold.
His badge looks fake. No, his badge looks fake. No, his ice looks fake. No, his ice looks fake. And
that's a Nerf gun.
Get that? Rubber bullets. ICE doesn't use rubber bullets. They do. Oh, they do? Oh,
well, shoot each other then. You ain't gonna die.
Yeah, you're shooting gummy bullets.
Right.
Ice flavored. So that's kind of where we are. And that's before we even get to the bombing of a separate sovereign nation who did not have an imminent threat. So,
right.
Joy, I'm going to let you pick up on this because I've been talking too much. Walk us through Iran and bombing without an authorization and the songs that the Congress is singing in defense of what is clearly an illegal act.
So we all know that the current president of this country set out to drop bombs on hypothetically or allegedly nuclear repository facilities in Iran. since that has happened, he came out and said, I bombed them. And so now we need peace. And Iran was like, what are you talking about? What? And he's like, I'm brokering peace. Now that we've shown them our power, now they'll buckle and do what we say. And Iran was like, I'm 9 years old. I do what I want. I don't care who you think you are.
I do what I want. I'm 9 years old. Whatever.
In the sovereign nation way, right? Iran. And the thing people need to understand is the United States, we have done a whole lot of military actions. Vietnam was a military action. It wasn't technically a war because when presidents get in trouble, they want to punch somebody to their left, right? Look at me, be strong. And then just like then, the United States people are like, what are you doing? Bruh, they wasn't even messing with us like that. And then this idea that they got WMDs just sitting around somewhere, but they're never using them. Okay. Joy-Ann Reid made a really good point. She goes, the only people that have ever dropped a nuclear bomb on anybody is the United States. And so just like narcissists tend to project on others, we're afraid that somebody's going to do what we've done. Right. And so, but then it come to find out the places that he bombed were mostly empty and evacuated. And, I'm wondering if somebody leaked that information to them, or if they just had old information, because remember, our intel systems have been waning since he got in office because nobody else trusts us. So he may have been working off old intel, but I think the current thing says he may have set back their nuclear program by a few months.
Which was the whole rationale, quote unquote, behind the necessity of doing it, because they were a few months away from getting a bomb. Now, that's in direct contradiction of what Tulsi DEI Gabbard said in March, which is not that long ago.
Right.
March, April, May, we're in
March was 3 months ago. Yeah.
3 months ago. And so she was saying, no, there's no imminent threat. And then literally had the gall to try to say that her clearly quoted, not edited comments were taken out of context. No, ma'am, you sat there and you read the paper. You didn't say, but you read the paper. You looked down, you read the words, you looked up, thank you, Senator. That's what it was. There is no missing context. No. Now, you're trying to cover for Tangerine Dreams, but that doesn't make it true. And the worst part is that they had the nerve to call people like Obama feckless. Obama kept them in check. Obama took off the sanctions. Obama gave them the money that we had been holding illegally as a check, and took sanctions down so that they could start interacting with the rest of the world. And they did not fail a single IAEA check. In all that time.
They were holding up their side of the bargain.
They were holding up their side of the bargain because you know what? The Ayatollah is still a religious person.
Good point.
And that's the thing. You have to wait for him. There's nobody in Iran that can authorize the creation of a nuclear bomb except the Ayatollah. And the Ayatollah is not only the actual head of state as opposed to the president, who's more of a figurehead, but he is also the supreme religious leader. And there's no way in the world. And if you're Muslim and you want to weigh in on this, even if it's Shia, I think Iran's more Shia and Iraq was Sunni. But there's no way you believe that Allah would approve of the wholesale destruction of people. There are Muslims in the United States.
Right.
And if you bomb Los Angeles, you're bombing Muslims. Period. You're bombing New York, you're bombing Chicago, you're bombing Detroit, you're bombing Atlanta, you're bombing Miami. Everywhere in this country, there are Muslim faithful. There are, how many mosques you think there are in New York and LA? You can't just sneak a bomb into America, killing American Muslims, and expect that Allah is going to respect that. I don't care what your branch is.
Right. Somebody else also made the point, like, if you look at the average age of all the people involved in all of this, like, nobody's under 70. Right. It's a bunch of old men out here making their last hurrah, trying to either build or destroy their own legacies. And it's time for them to go. And, one other thing that I want to talk about, because you mentioned Tulsi Gabbard. When this first happened, Democrats and Republicans were like, what? He did what? right?
Yes.
And granted, there were some Republicans that had been briefed, but not all of them. And the Democrats
Correct.
are way in the dark. All of that is wrong. Not technically illegal, but very wrong, right? And he's even talked about, war. You cannot declare war. That is not within your power. And so people are like, this is unconstitutional. And then I remember seeing somebody that I follow on TikTok say, watch, 24 hours from now, they're going to all have the same talking points. And I'll be doggone if he wasn't right. 24 or 30 hours later, they're all on board. They're all saying this is a show of strength. They're all using the same words that Fox News has told them to use. And
Complete
you right. You asked me earlier, why I can understand like some young people or people that are his lackeys going along with it, but why are the veterans? Why are the GOP veterans, the rhinos even going along with this? And what's the deal? And I believe that first off, let's remember that the Heritage Foundation doesn't just have one sleeper cell in our United States government. They have several plants. It has been proven time and again that bills that have been introduced, sometimes they forget to erase the Heritage Foundation off the stationery and just go ahead and send it on in like, hey, bro, you didn't even write this. You're being controlled. You're a puppet. And so I think there's enough of them in enough places. Either they have ties to the Heritage Foundation or the Heritage Foundation has files on them. Either way, they are in line now. And I believe, similar to what's the word, I'd rather be a general in hell than a peasant on earth. I think a lot of them believe they are going to be generals in the hell they're trying to bring forward. Right. And so they are thinking that they can just hold out until whatever this phase of Project 2025 is. That, remember, Trump said there'll be no more elections. They feel like if they can just hold out until they get to the point where they can declare no more elections, then they run things and they can just assassinate even more. Because let's not forget that they did a person that is in support of the current regime did assassinate a sitting congressman and her husband.
Yep.
Right.
And that's another thing that is a part of this ongoing clown show of foolishness. And what we heard in the immediate aftermath of the bombing is that I don't even think it was the half of the Gang of Eight, but some Republicans were briefed that it was going to happen, but he didn't bring in the Democrats. And the Democrats were like, how in the hell are you going to do this? Hakeem Jeffries, a bunch of other leadership. And so they were supposed to have a briefing that was scheduled for tomorrow. First, it was supposed to be Tuesday. Then it got pushed to Thursday. Then because of the leak of the fact that he didn't actually obliterate anything. And Carolyn Levitt's talking about what CNN and what the other people don't know from this top secret leak. Ma'am, the top secret leak came from within your government. And you're talking about things they don't know that you know. Trump hasn't dug through any dirt over there. They don't know what's going on. They know what they think they know. They did put a ton of bombs in there. It wasn't just one bomb. It was 14 or 12 bombs, whatever. And I get it. I would certainly believe that a bunker buster bomb, if you put 12 of them in there, then technically it's like the first one doesn't get the job done, but it creates the hole. And then the other one doesn't have to drill a hole, so we can start drilling after the first explosion.
Right.
But if they knew bunker busters were coming, is there a scenario where they put some levels of steel plating in intermediary levels? Like, did they plan, like, if you were going to drop a bunker buster bomb, this is where you do it. And so let's slot this in here, or let's, figure out, get some vibranium or some shit. The point is that they moved 880 pounds of 60% enriched uranium out of that spot. Now, and they say maybe not even all the centrifuges are jacked up, but whatever is jacked up, they've still got 60%. And it can be enriched somewhere else. It might not be able to be enriched at the same time. They might not have another tranche of centrifuges to enrich all of it. But guess what? You start with one. And once you got one bomb, then you can reuse the centrifuges for the next one. It might take longer, but it won't take any longer to get to the first.
And another thing to think about, there's a whole lot of people in the United States that have guns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people like myself, my gun currently is not loaded because I don't want to have a loaded gun in my house, but the bullets aren't far away. But come talking noise to me, come acting up in my area, I'm loading the gun. And now we got a problem. And so who's to say that, maybe they were months away and they were just cool to be at the ready. Who's to say that they won't now be like, oh, this is how you're going to do? Let me load this gun real quick.
Well, the point is that we were doing everything you asked.
Right. We were doing everything you asked. And then on a whim, and I'm going to tell you why I think he did all of this. Because Zelensky had a successful decimation of some of Russia's Air Force, bombing on the planes. And he did it sneak attack. Nobody knew. And the world cheered him for it. Well, except Russia. The world cheered for him. And so he wants that kind of love and adoration from his people. So he's like, I can do a sneak attack. I'm gonna drop some bunker busters on Iran and then they're gonna love me. And everybody's like, brother, what is that, brother? Like, what did you do? Why?
Well,
and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something else. We will never love him. I could leave a period right there. We will never love him unanimously the way Ukrainians love Zelensky. You know why? Because they are two completely different people.
Yep.
One is worthy of love.
One is an actual hero. Yes. One is actually fighting for his people.
Yes, and one has bone spurs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The thing that also has come out in the aftermath of all of this is that you had the initial attack, then there was supposed to be a ceasefire, then the ceasefire collapsed, and then Iran did some more retaliatory whatever. Then the ceasefire was kind of back, and then it turned into Trump saying Iran should sell cheap oil to China. And it's like, he was asked, and it was like, well, they can buy the oil from us. They can buy the oil from Iran. But Iran was devastated. They're going to need to rebuild their country, and they can sell oil to do that. He really thought, this is what I think, in combination with your Zelensky point, which I think is a very solid one. I think he thought he was actually going to be able to take Iran's oil the way that Bush wanted to take Iraq's oil. And he thought shock and awe and, the great fiery orange one has destroyed our ambitions. Please come in and help us. Not taking into account that it was our CIA that murdered the popularly elected president of Iran, substituted him with a puppet dictator, the Shah. And then when the Shah finally got overrun by the religious extremists, that's what set up our initial CIA intervention, created the festering animosity along with the Shah being a dick. Sorry to Persian viewers, but y'all, that was not a good one. And that's how we got to 1978 and 79.
Right.
And then ever since, it's just been this animosity because we wanted to hedge against, we armed Iraq against Iran and did all of that stuff. All of our intervention, our neocon dreams of limitless, vast fields of oil that would be coming to us at our whim fell to pieces because you can't put a puppet up and expect that everybody in the country is just going to fall in line. Right. And
especially not a country like the United States.
Not a country like the United States, which actually has had freedom for a long time. Well, freedom. Some people have had freedom for a long time.
Freedom to act up.
Yes, correct. And here's the thing that also went a little behind the scenes on this whole Iran could be war, army people getting steak and lobster dinners because they're about to be deployed and all of this. In Project 2025, there is, up to last week, something I didn't even know, that they want to force all public school students, not private school students, where Bezos's kids might go or whatever, but all public school students to take the military aptitude test.
Yeah.
So it's not a draft. It's not the draft.
It's not a draft, but it will allow them to reach out to you,
correct.
Find you, follow you. And then all it takes at that point is there's the license plate, pull them over, trump up charges like we do on Black people, and then send them to the Army.
Here's your choice. Yep.
Yep.
They won't even have to pay them the $5,000 signing bonus if they're offering it as a diversion from jail.
Yeah, yeah. And it's real easy to do.
Right. So
they've been practicing on Black people forever. One more reason for y'all to stay in the house. Don't be out there getting caught up.
Stay home on Friday and Saturday night. Mm-hmm. Be studying. Read your Bible. Something good in there. So you need to stay your ass at home, because now instead of the school to prison pipeline, it's the school to boot camp pipeline.
Right.
And that's
no
just
books, just boots.
Mm-hmm. Just boots. They've got those boots on the ground, and that's kind of where we are. Listen, folks, we're coming up on 30 minutes. We did want to give you something to chew on.
And did we mention that this was pre-recorded?
We did not mention this is pre-recorded. Sorry, you're not going to see any comments. This is pre-recorded.
So if you're wondering why your comments haven't been on screen, it's because we're not really here.
It's because we're not here. So Joy, what are you going to be doing?
So tomorrow I have got a series. So I've been moonlighting with another group, the Moana Nui podcast and Blerdcast, doing a lot of my nerd stuff. And so as we've had so many cons here, MomoCon, Power Rangers, Stop and Pop, Atlantic Comic Con is coming up, and then Dragon Con. And so we are still navigating through. Long story short, I've done a podcast with them every night this week. I'm doing another one in about 10 minutes on Wednesday. Okay. Yeah. And so it's just so much stuff to get through. It's all about Black people in nerdy spaces and navigating all this stuff. And I'm the moderator. Now through like September, I'm doing podcasts for them. So Moana Nui. Yeah, check it out. Mm-hmm. All right. If you want to come be a guest, Tom, you're more than welcome.
Okay, excellent. We've got so many cons in Atlanta and one in the White House. So what I will say is that I am going to be playing Dad this Thursday, and I'm going to be taking my son to Jack and Jill Teen Conference. And so I've been told that the Wi-Fi is sketchy. So we wanted to get something done for you so that we could post it and set it up. So we hope that we've given you something to think about, something for you to talk about. Please feel free to chat it up in the comments during the entire time, because a lot of y'all be doing that anyway. So
right, y'all be talking to each other.
Yeah, just be chatting between yourselves, and we will be back next week. I'm actually going to be in Paho Enix at my conclave. So I'm going from one desert to another desert. But just wanted to let you all know that I will be broadcasting next week.
Yes.
But this week we're gonna do this little cut to the chase. How do you feel about cut to the chase? Does that work for you?
Yeah, that works for me. Cut to the chase. Like, look, here's what you need to know. Everything is a mess, and once again, it ain't our problem. But I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I've seen a lot of people in different areas talk about, Black people, y'all need to get back in the fight. Look at what's happening. It's time. It's y'all's time. No, it's not. It is still not. Stay at home, because we are not going to be the ones in front of the protest that they decide this one was violent because Black people were there and they declare martial law and a lot of us die. We're not falling for that. Also, all these other people that have been riding the backs of the civil rights movement, it's your turn. Y'all got the same numbers we got. Go on out there, do your thing. Be an activist.
You have no calluses because you ain't been walking it. You've been riding.
Exactly. So get out the wagon and push.
Right. Push. All right, everybody. That said, I'm Tom Cunningham.
I'm Joy Stevens.
And this has been a Steel Sharpened Steel Cut to the Chase. We will see you all next week on the 4th of July weekend. See what I did there?
I did.